All right, I'm live right now. Welcome, welcome. I have a few really good tea today. This is the 4 teas for the tea club member in March. Try to do this at least once a month. But next month I probably will be in China, so I probably couldn't do that. But but we'll see. Maybe I'll do like a recorded live video. Well, depending if I'm gonna bring the tea with me or not. I probably will actually. It probably will be fun. But I'm not sure about the VPN because I'll be in China. Gonna wait a little bit more before we get started. Let's see. I think it's really good option this month. It's for longest time I couldn't do some kind of tea club because I don't know if I can find enough interesting tea. But now I'm very confident. We've been doing it for a year. Doing it every month is hard, but but so far I think it's pretty cool because I'm able to find 4 really unique tea, not just average quality tea. So, but the problem is I have very limited supply on a lot of this tea. So I try not to grow the tea club too much, which is kind of crazy because the tea club is not a main thing for me, right? It's just a fun thing for me to do for a lot of our regulars. And then, you know, there's always people cancel every month and then I open up for like very quickly. And then usually somebody will like join to replace that. So I try to keep it like about 25 people usually. Right. So for this month we got the Chinese tea from Yiwu 2015. It's called Manqian. Manqian. It's gonna be a raw puer. And then we have really weird, unique China. From China, it's a Liu Bao Heicha, but it's a hand-picked one, and it's like big leaf, very, very big one. Really cool. I discovered that last year. It's available online, both of them. I just released them recently. And then the Alishan winter, Alishan Oolong. This is from a few months ago. We're gonna drink that. It's one of my favorite high mountain oolong from Taiwan. And finally, it's the Japan organic sencha from Mie. Mie is like about an hour drive from Kyoto, an hour and a half. I was over there last year and I'm probably gonna visit them again. One of the most beautiful organic farm that specialize in shaded tea. Shaded is like kabusecha. They shade for like 10 days to 2 weeks. Unlike a lot of ceremonial matcha or gyokuro, they shade for like 3 weeks. This is shade for like 2 weeks. And the prices for that reason, it's not a gyokuro, but for that reason, you get a really, really good umami notes. And it's organic, so the flavors look cleaner and it's just very, very, very good caffeine feeling. So that's the 3 tea that I want to cover. So I like to start with something light, right? I feel like this is all kind of light tea. So which one should I start first? You know, I'm gonna finish with the raw puer. I'm gonna do that last just because the raw puer you can do plenty of times. You know, so I think I'm gonna start with the Japanese tea first. I'm gonna do the Sai Akari. This is really, really interesting cultivar. So Sai means morning, Akari means light. So it's like morning light. We're going to use this Kyushu. This is just a basic Kyushu. Nothing interesting about this Kyushu. It has a built-in strainer. I have a fancier one, but sometimes I like this simple one. It has like a strainer that is built in, so I kind of like it. And the size is pretty good. This is roughly about 230, 240 milliliter. So I'm only gonna do like halfway, right? Gonna measure this about 5 grams. Hi, Yvonne. I hope everybody have a good Tuesday. It's a weird, random day on Tuesday. Tuesday is actually my day off. So I come to the shop just to do this with no distraction. Right. I have 100 degrees Celsius here on my kettle. Hola, hola. And then, Japanese tea, we need to lower the temperature to about 160 to 175. Because my kettle can only go to like high temperature because I'm mostly drinking a lot of Chinese and Taiwanese tea. So I have to use this Yuzamasi. This is actually a water cooler. So how do you do this is you put the hot water and then you just kind of wait until it cools down. So I'm gonna wait until the water boil. Meanwhile, let's measure this tea, 5 grams. I want to show you what the tea looks like. I need a tea scoop. All right. Very sweet and creamy. I'm gonna put about 5 grams here. So the color is a bit darker green because they are shaded leaf. Some people do not believe that a shaded leaf need to, like a single cultivar need to be shaded leaf, but I disagree. I think there is a certain flavor profile that comes out of shaded leaf. There's this thickness, there's this slightly nuttiness that I like about shaded leaf. But some people think if it's like single cultivar, you shouldn't drink them shaded, but I think everybody have their own personal opinion. It is easier though to recognize the different flavor of different cultivar if it's not being shaded. So you can see the color is a bit darker, right? This is shaded about 10 days to 14 days, right? And then we're gonna put this hot water here. Okay. This teapot has been seasoned for so long. Some people, when they smell it, it smells like onsen, like a Japanese spring water because I use Japanese tea all the time. But you have to use it so many times to get this kind of like smell. Make sure you spread out the tea leaf, right? If you cover it, kind of like you can smell it better. Meanwhile, I have the water here. Like I actually don't know what temperature this water is. So I'm suggesting it's about 165. I don't think this is hot enough actually. You can feel it from the bowl. So I think I'm gonna wait a little bit hotter. But fortunately, I have a fancy temperature gun. This is for cooking. Oh, this is too low. Well, this is 150. It's actually not that low. Yeah, it's actually 155. I want it at 165. 155 is a little bit lower. I'm gonna just add a little bit more hot water, should be okay. So I have a different opinion about how accurate a temperature should be. Right? There's some people a lot of people actually think that temperature have to be super accurate, the timing has to be accurate. But I feel like you know, making tea is not, it's not like a robot. Imagine a long time ago when there's no timer and there's no scale, right? Like even though when I first start, I like to follow their guideline, but as I brew more and more tea, I would rather try to make a good tea out of like whatever condition, right? If this is slightly lower temperature, I'm gonna brew it a little bit longer. If it's higher temperature, then I'm gonna brew it a little bit quicker, right? If I put a lot of tea, if I put not enough tea, I treat them slightly different, right? So because this is about slightly lower, and my guide for the tea club members about 40 seconds, right? So that tells me I should brew it for about a minute, roughly about a minute. And about how much water you put also matters, right? I'm only putting it halfway. So this is about 100, probably 140 milliliter, right? So that's good, right? At the end of the day, even if you try to be super accurate, nobody have the same water quality, nobody have the same vessel. Your teapot has a different thickness. Your room temperature is going to affect how the temperature of the teapot after even like a minute. I'm watching my time, so I'm gonna do this about 1 minute. So I prefer to adapt to whatever condition and be good at it. Recently I talked to a tea shop owner that disagreed with it, which is fine. And the tea shop owners claim that anytime this person go to tea farm, this person need to make it themselves because they think they know the best way to make the tea. And for me, that just doesn't make sense to me, right? Imagine going to every tea farm and then asking them like, hey, I want to make it myself because I know better than you. I just can't imagine how annoying it is, first of all. But you should be able to recognize good tea regardless who makes it. I feel like that's my approach, but agree to disagree, that's totally okay. Everybody have their own opinion, right? For me, I want to learn to know good tea even if it's not brewed properly. At least that's my approach. So what do you think? Which one do you agree? Right? For that reason, I feel like you can give me any tools, I can make it taste good because I've been practicing with all of random stuff, right? So even if I forgot a teapot, you know, I will make it work wherever I'm at. That's my style. That's my approach, at least. Right? This is the green tea from Mie. Beautiful color. All right. So you'll learn how to drink it slowly, right? The color can be deeper a little bit. Some people probably like it deeper. So because this is a little bit lower the temperature than my recommendation, so it's gonna be a little bit more gentle. As a result though, it's gonna be sweeter, right? So you just have to understand different way of making the tea. It's gonna change the tea, but it's still gonna taste good. That is the most important thing, right? Look at how beautiful they are. Slightly grassy, very creamy, sweet. Slightly, the other day when I brewed this, at least the first time I brewed this, it tastes like corn. But because I changed and tweaked this a little bit, I feel like this tastes a little bit more creamy now. And if you want to know if a tea is umami or not, because tea that is like shaded tend to be a little bit more salty. Usually you want to focus on the side of your tongue, on the back end. So the umami level of this tea is probably, I will consider medium. It's not like very salty, but it's very, very thick, very juicy, slightly fruity, a little bit like rice, kind of like almost like a sticky rice, those kind of like rice kind of notes, almost like a jasmine rice kind of notes, with a little bit like vegetable. It feels very healthy and it's organic, so it just feels very good for your body. All right, so this tea you can brew a second time for sure because I'm using such a lower temperature. That means I can extend it to a second infusion. At second infusion, feel free to use higher temperature. And this was from 150, and usually I jump to like about 10, 20 degree. But I have my kettle set at 185, so it's much, much higher, right? Again, trying to adapt with what you have is important. So right now, I have a little bit of this. I'm gonna mix with slightly higher temperature, and we're gonna mix them together. The way I do tea is definitely not the way how most Japanese people do it. I'm mixing two philosophy of how Japanese and Chinese does it, just so you know. So I feel like, you know, why only follow one way if you feel like you found a different way, right? If you can find a different way that works, I feel like that's more fun, you know? Tea shouldn't be too rigid. Now that I'm using at 185, and I know I have a few left over here, and I know the 185 is gonna extract more flavor, so I'm not gonna wait for even 30 seconds. All I gotta do is like about 15 seconds. This motion, what I'm doing is just to make sure that the tea brew evenly. And you can see from the color, since I see the color is getting darker and darker, I can speed up the pouring part. And then always make sure when you use Japanese style teapot, always make sure that you're going to pour all the water out of the teapot, right? You can use 2 hands, be careful, the lid will fall off until there's no more liquid left remaining. And you can see the color is a bit darker here. It's gorgeous, right? And this cup is definitely too small most of the time for a lot of Japanese tea to enjoy. I prefer this size cups for a lot of Japanese tea. Or even if you do meditation, this is the perfect size, right? The nice thing about this size, you get to like put your face on it and just like smell the whole thing. It's just so much more easy to really understand from the smell. Well, something like this, I can't really smell it as much as this, obviously. And it's also cooled down much faster. So if the water temperature is much higher, this is definitely better. And it's also just kind of nice. You have this one full cup, and then I feel like you're done for like 20 minutes. If it's a good tea, you should like feel the effect like 20, 30 minutes. And just by switching different cups, it actually tastes different too. Right? So I'm doing the same tea here, just the only difference is the cups. The experiment is very, very different. The material is different, the thickness is different, how fast it cooled down is different. I mean, the vibration probably different. Like, I'm not sure how it works. Even the color immediately changed. I don't know if you see it, but obviously this is like a white, it's probably just the lighting. But I feel like everything changed just by changing the shape, the material of the cup, right? This is why it's crazy to think that you can accurately mimic somebody by just following rules that by the timing, the seconds, it just doesn't make sense, right? There's so much in our environment that can change the flavor by the seconds, right? So just kind of learn to enjoy them, learn to understand good tea, just different with different situation, and you kind of have to appreciate that. Feel like a little bit more concentrate on this. Temperature is a little bit lower on this. It does feel a bit thinner. But there's that satisfaction when you drink like from this cup, we just like finish the whole thing. Feel like you just accomplished something amazing. I also like to use this when I'm when I know I don't want to like keep focusing on making tea, but it's not too big, right? Where I feel like it's gonna cool down too much, or like I feel like I'm gonna have to drink too much. It's just the perfect size for me. Have one cup and then do work, do something else, and or like if I'm reading a book, if I'm enjoying the scenery at the park, you have one cup and then you just kind of like switch your focus on something else. This is amazing. amazing size. All right, I'm gonna get rid of this because we're gonna move on to the next tea. Any questions, definitely ask away. I will be here for probably about an hour. Ooh, the aftertaste is so good. It still stays with you. That's what good tea should do. There's so many boring tea out there. When I said by boring, they might taste good, but then when you drink it, it's just gone. And then you have to keep drinking it to feel happy, to feel satisfied with the tea. Good tea, you have one of that, and it just stays with you in your mouth. Your whole body just still feeling the vibration of the tea. It's just amazing. All right, the next tea we're gonna do is the Taiwanese winter harvest Qingxin Oolong from Alishan. Right? Alishan is the name of the famous mountain in Taiwan. I discovered this farm 2 years ago when I visited Taiwan. It was actually on the way home. When I went to Alishan, stopped a few places, even at the peak of the mountain, well, not the peak, the national park, try a few of them. None of them are very impressive. I was feeling a little bit disappointed. Coming back, visit one place that have a weird teapot-shaped tea house. Still not very good, but I didn't give up and visited like 2 more after that. And the last one, it looks like there's nobody there. I still remember it. It was raining, it was foggy. For some reason, it was dark, but this tea house, just by itself, just bright light, you can see. And you enter, there's nobody there, and okay, like, hello, hello, and an old guy comes out, and he was busy making tea, and he called his daughter, and then the daughter come out, and it seems like they were busy making tea. So it was like 7 p.m. at night too. So I was like, oh, I just want to try tea, and I saw a lot of like award winner flag on the wall. I'm like, okay, maybe there's hope in this, right? Because sometimes I've been to a place where there's a lot of award winner and it doesn't mean anything sometimes. So because of my disappointment, I didn't really put too much hope. And in fact, even after trying it, I was very critical. I was like, okay, maybe I'm already kind of like going to just assume everything is not as good as I wanted to. After like trying it for like 2 hours, bring home some samples, and then with a refreshed palates, I realized, okay, this is actually really good. I was just being very negative, you know, when you constantly find not good enough, you're starting to just assume everything just bad. So fortunately, the last one was a really good one, so I'm happy. This is the bottom of the bag. I'm gonna pick a different one. I'm gonna put about 5 grams of this winter harvest. This is a lot, and I'm gonna use my special Taiwanese teapot. I have a special Taiwanese teapot that I use for all of my Taiwanese tea. I'm using about 5 grams. And I like this one because it's actually, you know, if you're familiar with Taiwanese tea, it looks like a tiny ball. And the reason why I choose this, because this looks like a tiny ball. So it's not from Taiwan. This is actually Yixing, right? It's very cute. One of the best Puer. Found this last year too on my trip to China, right? I've been only using Taiwanese tea in this teapot. So it's pretty cool. I'm gonna use boiling water. Taiwanese tea often rely a lot, a good Taiwanese tea rely a lot on how the sensation feel on the back end of your throat and how the sensation goes down and comes back up. Right? We call it in Chinese called hui kan. Hui means coming back. Kan means feeling, right? Coming back, the sensation. So good Taiwanese tea should have a very strong, powerful huigan. And because it's so powerful, if the tea is not done properly, you get two things. Either you got no huigan, or if it's a lot of pesticides, you get an awful huigan. Because it goes in, and then it come back up, and your throat, your back side of your tongue, you feel a weird chemical reaction, almost like an allergic reaction that makes you feel kind of like scratchy, and then it's gonna go to all your body, and then you start feeling jitter. You have to pay attention on it. You have to be drinking a lot of tea to get to the point that you can feel that, and that's okay if you don't. You just keep practicing, but if you do a lot of comparison like me, it get easier, right? I do feel a lot of Taiwanese tea, it's always fall into one of those two. And price sometimes doesn't really matter. I've had tea that is definitely way more expensive in Taiwan, and it still doesn't give me the satisfaction. Economies are hard, so everybody has to make money, obviously. And because of that, I feel like, it's just personal opinion, obviously. I feel like a lot of people spend more time on the packaging than actually the quality of the tea. Or it's just my luck, maybe, that I didn't get a good tea. Anytime like the good packaging is always disappoint me even more. But again, I'm planning to go back to Taiwan next year. That is my my big goal. It wasn't boiling water, but the smell though. The smell of Taiwanese tea is very unique. Chinese farm is actually starting to make Taiwanese style tea now, because they keep importing them from Taiwan, and like, hey, you know what? We can do this ourselves. And some Taiwanese people actually moved to China and trying to make a similar style, and they have been pretty good job at it. But at the same time, you cannot replicate the environment of Taiwanese high mountain, even if it's both are high mountain, right? And sometimes people forget about that climate, the soil. The soil is not a result of something that you just build over like 10 years, 20 years. It's something that you've been making the same tea over and over again. And a good clean one is going to always improve the quality of the tea. And this is why, where is it from? Sometimes it's still going to be the best just because they have the oldest history. Even if you can replicate the skill, you can't replicate the environment, right? So I still prefer Taiwanese tea that is made in Taiwan, obviously. There's a lot of Taiwanese tea now made in Vietnam, and some of them even in Indonesia. And most people can't tell the difference. And honestly, if you put in front of me, like side by side, other than just judging which one is better, if you tell me which one is Taiwanese and which one is non-Taiwanese, I'm not sure if I can even guarantee tell you the difference, to be honest with you. Especially sometimes they mix them up, then it's like cheating, you know? If you mix them up a little bit, then that's just very difficult. Unless if I'm only drinking Taiwanese tea, then I'm confident I can, but I'm also drinking a lot of other tea. Right, so we're gonna brew this for about 30 seconds. Right, about 30 seconds. All right, I'm gonna brew this. Beautiful pour. Look how amazing this pour is. You can see where the water starts breaking apart. The longer where the solid flow is, the better the pour is, I guess. And there's nothing comes out of the lid. That is how you know a good teapot, right? This is the first brew, 30 seconds. The smell of Taiwanese high mountain is very unique. This is winter harvest. Winter harvests are normally considered not as high quality as spring harvest. Partly because winter harvest, the soil just went through summer, which is really rough, a lot of bugs, right? And because of that, winter harvests tend to taste a little bit more muted. I feel like that's the right word. It's a little bit more muted. It's not as floral. Saying that though, it tastes a little bit more creamy with winter harvest. The aftertaste not as strong, but is more full body a lot of time. That's what my experience with winter harvest, right? And I will say out of 10 people, 7 to 8 people prefer spring and 2 to 3 people prefer winter harvest. If you do this right, lots of sweetness in the center and the back end of your tongue. And like I said, the aftertaste should be like pretty clean, goes in. You breathe in and there's this nice sensation that lingers on your tongue, right? You have to learn to pause when you want to understand this hui kan. What does that mean? That means you don't want to just like mindlessly drink it. Like a lot of people do that. They're just drinking it. They're not taking a time to like enjoy the moment of like savoring that flavor that stays in your mouth, right? If you drink too fast, you're just kind of like just tasting them and smelling them. That's not enough. Well, especially if you like in a group with other people and just having a nice conversation, it's difficult to enjoy that moment. So I learned this from some tea master in Taiwan that, she told me to kind of not talk and just be quiet and just kind of savor it. And it's really cool, when you learn with so many tea masters, they have all different approach on different things. And I'm the kind of person that wants to learn from 100 tea masters, 200 tea masters. Nobody are wrong. That's my style. And then in the return, I try to teach them to other people, right? That's why every day you probably heard different things from me because I learn from so many people. And I can't wait to go back to learn from more people. There are so many amazing people out there. All right, that's the second brew. As you can see, I mixed them a little bit with the first brew. All right, so this time I'm gonna use this halfway. I'm gonna use my other teacups again. One of my favorite teacups. This is actually made in Japan. This is from southern Japan. Man, I forgot the name of it. It's like 2-hour drive from Fukuoka. That's all I can tell you. It's by the ocean. I spent like 3 hours over there talking to the owner. The owner was super friendly, teaching me all kind of things. So, all right, let's see if I can tell the difference between these two cups. I think it's the same thing. It's a little bit more gentle on this one compared to this one. This one has a little bit more punch to it, right? It's very, very unique how it feels in your tongue. Because I feel like this one I can taste a little bit more floral, where this one is a little bit more creamy kind of feel. But I actually enjoyed this one more. Smelling it is much better though. All right, we're gonna do one more brew. This time I'm gonna do about 20 seconds. As you can see, the leaf is already fully open. This is what I like about the small teapot. It's really, it does a really good job at like opening up the leaf, you know, because it's just so compact, right? The heat doesn't really get distributed as much as like a bigger teapot. This is not too big, but if you have like a bigger teapot, sometimes you have to put so much tea and it feels like a waste, right? I like this because it's just the perfect size, not too small to the point that the leaf cannot open, and not too big where it takes too long to open up the flavor. Right, so I like this. Ooh, the aftertaste is amazing. I'm also live on YouTube and Facebook, just so you know. All right. Do one more time and then we're gonna move on to the really weird Liu Bao Heicha. Liu Bao is an interesting one. Wow, the third brew is actually my favorite now. You can brew this like 6 to 8 times normally. The floral notes is actually really powerful. It's not as creamy on the third brew. Not as sweet, but for some reason the floral notes really comes out. And always try to hit different part of your tongue when you drink it. If you hit on the back one, you get this really nice floral, kind of like blooming in your mouth, and then follow with like slightly sweet, kind of like greens to it. Amazing. All right, now we're gonna do Liu Bao. This is from 2007, which is about, what, 14, 15 years now? 2007, 10, nope, 10, yeah, 17 years, 18 years. It looks really unique. It looks like just those leaves that somebody picked up outside, you know. It's kind of funny the way it looks. You can even see it's organic because you can see there's the holes in the center of the leaf. There's like bug bitten, right? So it's very, very, and you can see on the bottom too, there's like holes. You know, it's really cool. All right, this is the first time I've seen something like this. And this is from Liu Bao Lao Cha Po. Lao Cha, it means old tea. Po, Po is, what is Po in this sense? Because Po is the same character as Lao Po, which is wife, or Wai Po, which is like grandma. So I'm not sure. Maybe there's like a hidden meaning in this that I'm not understanding. I gotta look it up. I'm gonna measure this about 7 to 8 grams. So basically everybody only get to try one time to this tea. It's a lot of tea. Actually, that might be a typo. 7 to 8 grams seems a lot, but I'm gonna do just 5 grams, okay? The instructions say 7 to 8. I think you can just do 5 grams. So don't follow the instructions. 7 to 8 grams will be good if you have like a glass teapots where you can just boil it really hard like this. This is not something you can find in America. You can just boil and boil it. This tastes really good if you do it this style, right? You put the tea inside and you put hot water and then you have a machine to boil them for 10 minutes. This is actually the best method of it. But I understand that most people don't have that, so we're not gonna do that. We're just gonna do it in a Gai 1. right? This 5 grams, a lot of tea. It's basically fill up your whole gaiwan. Look how pretty they are. Right? Definitely use boiling water, 100 Celsius, 212, and just don't be afraid with making this tea. Your goal is to make it as strong as possible, right? Over here, I said it's 40 seconds. You can actually even do it longer if you want to. If you want to, you can even do it for like 2 minutes, 3 minutes. Don't be afraid with this tea, right? So I'm putting boiling water, barely any room for the water. Just cover it, I'm gonna wait. Dump this bowl. It's getting full. I always have a bigger bucket on the bottom of my table. Is this recorded? Yes, this is recorded. Absolutely. You can watch the whole thing from YouTube. Instagram, sometimes they get rid of it after a month now. They have a new thing. So, but yeah, it is on YouTube. It's still on, I mean, it's going on right now on YouTube too. So the YouTube one doesn't get disappear. So it will be posted immediately. All right, I'm just gonna wait this for 40 seconds. Meanwhile, like I said, 40 seconds is the minimum. You can do it longer. The longer, the better, right? Meanwhile, I'm gonna get ready for the next one, which is the Yiwu Manqian. I think it's called, no, Manqian, sorry. Manqian. Yiwu Manqian raw puer. For those that's not familiar with Yiwu, Yiwu is one of the most expensive region in Yunnan, in my opinion, because as long as there's the word name Yiwu on it, you're gonna be expecting paying triple the price to like 20 times the price. And it's not always easy to find a good version of it. Even when I'm always very skeptical now. I remember a few years ago, whenever I get like a Yiwu, I was always so excited. But now that I actually try so many of them, I'm a lot more particular with my Yiwu, and it become a lot harder. So when I first got this one, it's actually surprisingly affordable for a Yiwu. And but then when I tried, I was not very happy with it. And something happened though when you actually wait for like a month for some reason. There's a lot of tea now. The shipping is just so bad. The condition of like the shipping of the tea seems to change a lot of the flavor of the tea. So I didn't really care about it too much, and I put it like aside, and then I revisit them, and then now like, oh my God, it's so good. So that is the thing, right? If whenever I got it, I will test them again. If it doesn't taste the same with what I remembered, I will not sell them. I will wait for it and then see how it changed in a few weeks. This happened all the time. People forget how bad it is when you ship it from Asia, sometimes through the custom, through the boat, the temperature, the condition that goes up and down all the time. And it's not a good thing. And the humidity, it's just messed up the tea sometimes. And so that's why I'm always kind of test them first, see if it's ready to sell, or I just get a bad stuff. All right, going back to this liu bao. Smells kind of like, smells kind of sweet, almost asparagus, almost kind of celery on the back end, slightly floral. Smells a little bit woody, almost like a cinnamon notes a little bit, just hints. Everything is like just like hints of it. Nothing is like overpower. Almost like an aged white tea at the same time. The color is beautiful, right? The smell of the lid actually remind me of like the normal gaiwan more. Ooh, the smell of this is almost like barbecue. There's that sweet and sour kind of barbecue notes. Interesting. It does not smell the same. So, all right, beautiful color. Do not need any filter. Right? I'm gonna go back to see if I can see anything different. All right, again, I use about 5 grams. Ignore the instruction. Over here, it says 7 to 8 grams. So do 5 grams instead. Beautiful color. Now, because it takes so long to brew this, I will just kind of like pour hot water immediately. I try not to fill up the gaiwan too much. I want it to really extract the flavor. Do not have to worry. Just let it sit. Don't even worry about the timing. It's so unique. It has like a sweet, ooh, running out of water. It has like a sweet, like mix of cinnamon and vegetal, almost like a little bit grassy. Oh, there's a cooling sensation. This is way better in this big cup, actually. You know why? Because of the flavor is a little bit lighter. I can like suck in a lot more liquid to it, and I feel way more refreshing. Sometimes with this, you can't really like drink too much. This is the kind of style where you more like savor it, almost like when you drink a bourbon or whiskey. There's a lot of tea that you just like take little sips, but for this tea, it's not a good thing. This tea you want to like take a lot, so be careful with the temperature. You want to like cool it down and just take a big chunk of it, and then you really feel it on the back end. Yeah. Oh, look at the color. The color's like starting to change. I don't know if you can see it with that angle, but it looks really, really dark red amberish now. Ooh, I'm running out of time. So we're gonna just do this one more time, and then we're gonna move on to the Puer. I think Instagram will like shut down the live after 1 hour. So I have like 10 more minutes. So let's just do this one more time. You can definitely steep that more and more. It's very autumn kind of feel, to be honest with you. It's like, it's not very heavy, it's not very light, it's very unique. I never had anything like this. Sometimes I pick tea just because they're unique and different. You know, it's still very clean. I definitely like this in a big cup more. So if you have a bigger cup, I recommend that, but I will wait a little bit until it's cooled down. All right, very, very good tea. You can take a look. Again, if you have a teapot that you can boil, you can really do that with this. They don't get bitter. Just boil it for like 10 minutes. We are going to move on to the next tea. Look how beautiful this tea is. It's gorgeous. All right, like that. All right, this is loose. It's not a cake. It's from Yiwu. I remember when I first got it, it was a bit too smoky. And then as it sits for quite a few weeks later, the smokiness kind of like disappeared. So that's kind of nice. All right, I'm using a Yixing teapot. So if you don't have that, you can use your gaiwan. This is my favorite teapot. Everybody been asking me, when can you get more of this? Because I'm traveling soon, I try not to get some, right? It's a very unique double strainer. So there's a strainer inside and then there's a strainer on the lid. It's one of my favorite teapot to make puer. The reason behind it is because raw puer you can steep about 25 times in average. And in order to maximize that, you need to pour them very quickly, right? So often that spout is just not quick enough. So that double spout really helped me a lot when it's like trying to pour them instantly. That way I can extend the infusion by an extra 5 to 10 more extra infusion just by having this teapot. On top of it, I'm always using the same style. So this teapot has been seasoned very well. I specifically try to find the raw puer that is sweeter, right? I'm just gonna like rinse this really quick. Don't wanna, even the rinsing part too. It's amazing because I can hold it with my thumb and then immediately pour, oops, make a little bit mess. Immediately pour out like that. I didn't put a lot of water, so you'll see it. Such an easy tea to drink. I think that's gonna be good for like winter time too. All right. So another thing what's cool about this, you don't have to constantly open the lid. You can just pour the water directly on the top. But you have to kind of like figure out when does it stop. You have to guess them. All right, and then just do like 5 seconds. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. And then pour it out. There you go, you see that? Very quickly. Right, it's amazing, right? This is what you get. All right. Very clean. Same thing. I'm gonna use this one too. Oh man, I'm feeling from that liu bao now. That liu bao feels really good. So one thing about Yiwu is always have this like thickness mouthfeel to it, right? They're not the most powerful tea. So a lot of older people, I feel like they can't really enjoy tea from Yiwu because if they're looking for like that powerful feeling, Yiwu doesn't really do that. Yiwu is a little bit more subtle, a little bit more gentle, a little bit more kind of like that white tea texture a little bit. So it's a little bit more elegant flavor-wise. And Yiwu is a big region, by the way. There's like different part of it that is just, some of them just extremely expensive. And something about Yiwu too, I heard so many stories. I haven't done it myself, but every farmer will tell me the story of how difficult it is to go to the area where they pick the tea is. They're like wildly grown. They have to drive for like a couple hours to go inside the forest and secret spot that nobody knows. Like everybody have their own secret spot. Sometimes they have to switch from car to motorcycles. Sometimes they have to camp. That's why they feel like they have to charge a lot because it's not like a Qingmai tea where they just right there behind your backyard. With Yiwu, often they have to go do this like 1 week, 2 weeks planning. So I feel like this is why I feel like it's difficult to find a good Yiwu because you're paying for that labor, right? And they have to, and on top of it, you know, you want to find a good quality one. And when they do find it, it's like 10 times, 20 times more expensive than other puer. And when you don't find it, it's still going to be expensive because, you know, somebody have to pay for the labor. Very clean, slightly hints of smokiness. People who likes whiskey, I guess. People who likes that tiny smokiness. I don't like it when it's too smoky. Very sweet, very nice texture. There's no earthy notes, no bitterness. The sweetness is very soft, very nice. Right. I already have somebody that got this tea from the tea club and immediately go to the website and bought a half a pound of this tea. So that just show how popular this tea is. And it's for a Yiwu tea, this is pretty affordable. So this is from 2015, which is 10 years old. The pour of this teapot is also nice, but if I want it to be quicker, then it's too late. But in the beginning, usually you can do it that way. You can see immediately the color is a bit more vibrant now. Again, next month, I'm not sure if I can do the live thing. I'm probably gonna do a lot of live, that's just not sure if I'm gonna be able to do this schedule. So next month, this month actually, now it's April 1st. Everybody will get the tea sooner, which is nice, but then probably there's no live. But any question, definitely you can ask me. The flavor of the second infusion is like really comes out. Wow, very sweet now. Almost like a apricot kind of like sweetness. It's almost like a smoked apricot, if that makes sense. It's like gently smoked though. Again, I don't like when the tea has too much of something. You know, the tea has to be balanced. Flavor-wise, it has to be evenly balanced, right? This one is very balanced tea. For this tea, I think I like smaller cup more. Yeah, smaller cups is way better on this one. It's more concentrated. I get a better like complexity to it. For some reason, the bigger cup on this one kind of mutes some of the flavor profile that I like. For the Liu Bao, the bigger cup was better, but for this one, the small cup is definitely better. So I'm running out of time. The Instagram is gonna shut down my live soon. I'm gonna brew this for 10-15 seconds. We're gonna brew it a little bit longer this time. For you at home, you can do just the same 5 seconds, but I wanna see how it tastes when you brew it a little bit stronger. And you can do this easily 20 times. One of those tea that you can just sit down and drink for a couple hours. You can dry the leaf by just making sure you open the lid of the teapot, getting rid of some of the water. Make sure there's no water at all. And then you can revisit them a few hours later or even like tomorrow. That's the nice thing about Puer. Especially if you live at a dry climate place like Las Vegas, it's really good to reuse them again later. Very, very good on the second brew. We're gonna try the third brew, which is the final brew. Let's see how it is. Pretty consistent, even though I brew a bit stronger. This is something you savor, not something you drink a big chunk, right? So this is another thing that people always make mistakes, in my opinion. Some tea you want to take a big chunk, and some of them you just like take a little sip. They're different tea, different method of enjoying them. This is definitely tastes better in this cup, way better. Very sweet, very gentle, very good aftertaste, very clean. It coats your tongue pretty nicely. A bit drier than I wanted to compared to some of the other Yiwu tea I like, but that's probably why this price is not too expensive. But at least I like the flavor a lot, and it has like a refreshing feeling on your tongue. So overall, I think it's a solid tea. I'm still gonna kind of like getting feedback about it, see how people like it. I do have only like a pound left. It's not it's not 100% for sure. I will like keep going to carry this tea, just because I wanted to have all my tea selections is like extremely good. So although I think this is really good, I'm not sure what customer feels. So we're gonna see what people think. If everybody love it, then I'm gonna have it available all the time. But for now, it's a limited quantity. It's not always gonna be available. But other than that, that's it for today's tea. I tried 4 teas from the Japanese side, Akari Sencha, Taiwanese Winter Harvest Oolong, Liu Bao Heicha, and this is Yiwu Manqian Raw Puer. And the next time you see me doing live, it's probably I'll be in China. The shop will still be open. I'll be leaving on April 9, so it's 8 more days. A lot of things to prepare. Very excited, trying to find more teas. Gonna be gone for 45 days. Definitely, I will post a lot of things on my story. This is one of those big trips I do every year now. So I'm very excited to see what I can find. See if I can surprise everybody to like even better quality than what I found last year. I have even higher expectation now. So I'm very excited about it. I'm gonna buy a lot of pottery too. I'm gonna visit like 6 famous pottery town. So I'm gonna try to find a lot of like handmade teapots, teawares, gaiwan. A lot of my customers are definitely not afraid to spend more now on like some of like this premium teaware. So give me the confidence that I'm gonna bring some really, really premium stuff over there. So that's exciting for me and exciting for a lot of my customers too. And if you have any requests, definitely you can message me, see if I can find them. You know, I'll try my best. And often I do a lot of pre-order. I might do live at the pottery town. I don't really announce them, so you just have to kind of like turn on the bell notification when I'm live. Then because I like to do that when I'm away, and just to show people what I see. You know. Other than that, thank you so much for watching. Hopefully, I'll see you again in China when I do live. And thank you again. I'll see you again next time. Bye, everybody.